In a stunning development, President Ibrahim Traore has said no to secondhand clothing from Europe and America. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. So come on in. Let's talk about it. Hi guys, I'm SYNOLVE. How are you guys doing? I sure hope you are doing well. You know we are on a President Ibrahim Traore Burkina Faso Sahel AES watch. You know how we do over here. Okay, we are watching. We have got our eyes on everything these amazing three kings are doing, and everything that President Traore and the Burkina Faso people are doing in West Africa. We are so proud. The aunties over here, your cousins over here, I'm just telling you, in the West, look, we are so proud of you, and globally around the world and throughout Africa. So look, okay, auntie has the news. I'm just saying. Hi guys, I am SYNOLVE. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Perform all of the miracles that you must. Perform the miracles. Yes, perform all of the rituals that you must perform. Like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. All right. Okay. Look, I'm just saying, go ahead and also have my link to Patreon. You can also join and be a member of this channel so you can be up to date on all the things I share. And because there's over on Patreon, you know, I'm trying to get it off the ground. There are things that I can share there that I just can't share here. You know, they be trying to, you know, I'm just saying, do a little do with the girls. So look, yeah, auntie, so over on Patreon we can share more. Look, sign up for my newsletter. I'll leave it linked in the link below so we can stay connected. Hit that bell so you can be notified whenever I drop a video, okay? And you'll get my newsletter with the email list. So when I read this, Ibrahim Traore rejects secondhand clothes from America and the US of A. Woohoo! Now look, y'all, I was happy. I was so happy because, you know, sometimes the first thing people want to do, sometimes other people, the first thing they want to do is give you a handout. Now they don't want to, you know, when they feel like, you know, you're a third world country or less than them. Look, I'm an American, so I already know, being in an African American Black communities, how people will dump old clothes off on you and to you. I already know they won't pay you the wages. My grandmother worked for a WPPL family. Okay, worked for a family. They didn't want to pay her wages, but they were always giving her secondhand clothes. Just pay me and I can buy my own. Okay, you see what I'm saying? And so this becomes a problem sometimes with NGOs and nonprofits. Like, they're making millions, billions of dollars, but then they don't want to bring the millions and billions of dollars, okay, to the countries. They don't want to do right. They don't even do right here in America with their NGOs, okay? So what they like to do is, give you the free clothes. But those clothes are not free, okay? Dead man, white man's clothes. If you all have been seeing these, they are not clothes. They are not clothes. They are not free, okay? And the fashion world has this secret addiction over here, in the West, with fast fashion. And so now they're sending it over to Africa and around the world, not just Africa, forcing people to accept this stuff. And it is not free, okay? And President Traore, bless you, man. Bless you, sir. Okay, bless you, sir. Bless you, nephew. I'm just saying. Because they're sending millions and tons of this second-hand clothing. They're shipping millions, okay? Tons of second-hand clothing to Africa every single year. In fact, UN statistics report that millions of tons of USD garments reach the African continent annually. This is every single year. This includes not only Burkina Faso, but countries like Kenya, the Congo, and Nigeria. Okay, Ghana, so many different places throughout Africa and the world. these, what they call so-called, yeah, third world countries, honey. They are rich in resources. I mean, the people are amazing. In fact, in 2021, Kenya alone imported 90 million used clothing. I'm sorry. Let me say this right, because I think I got the number wrong. Kenya alone imported 900 million used clothing items. Some estimates suggest as many as 4 million tons of textiles are shipped across the globe annually, with the trade being valued at 4.6 billion. Now, what's the problem with it? Okay, the problem with these dead men's clothes, as they're called, is that they are not free. They're not free. No, they're not free. The price of used clothing in Africa varies, but retailers often pay around $100 a bale, which is a large container of used clothing, sometimes even higher. And there are a significant portion of those clothing that aren't even any good. They're unusable. They're poor quality or poor condition, right? And because it's fast fashion, or because it's donated and it's been sitting somewhere for a whole, for a long time. You don't know what conditions it's been in, what type of rodents or other things have been attacking these things, whether it's sitting over here in the West. You just don't know, what condition they're sitting in or where they've come from. And so they don't last. These clothes do not last, and they don't last, okay? And they're in poor condition. So that means sometimes less than half of the actual clothing that they receive is even usable. This second-hand clothing can cost as much as $280 USD. $280 USD per bale, and then half of that is not even usable, and you spent all of this money. This is ridiculous. I mean, and what's so sad about it is that people are sometimes donating clothing thinking, oh, it's going to Africa, or it's being donated to put to a good use, and then these items are being sold. They're being sold to the very communities that people in America, in the West, right, are thinking that they're donating to go help someone, to be a blessing to somebody. And so that, I think that is what fuels, that is what irritates me. That is the thing that irritates me. It's kind of difficult, to me in America, where they're pricing these at bales, at these costs. If you were in the West, for example, I'm in the West and I'm trying to buy it at this huge bale cost, they're not going to sell it to me. Like, I got to actually physically go into a nonprofit store, and I gotta do retail arbitrage. Like, I have to go in and I gotta buy at whatever price they're selling it at, and then try to resell it, right? Or if they're having sale days, the color-coded days. And that's really, that's a whole issue, when you could be allowing people in your own countries who are in the West, people who are African American or African descent over right here in the West, resell those clothing, go and open up shops, open up stores, or to be a blessing in our own, in our communities. And we could, also be able to make money. But no, that's not what they do. They rather, make sure they're definitely keeping it, restricting it from African Americans who are here, which a lot of people, African Americans, or in the West, wouldn't even want them. The same way people over in Africa may not even want them, because I'm a good thrifter. I love to thrift, but may not want them because they're not usable. They're not worthy. They're not worth it. And the impact that this does to the community is ridiculous, because a lot of this stuff, since it's, because it's dead stock disguised as affordable wear, we're over here in the West over consuming, and we have a throwaway culture because of fast fashion. This throwing all of our waste from the West, people throwing their waste from the West in terms of this fast fashion, is endangering the environment and the health of Africans, because a lot of this stuff just ends up in waste fields. This overconsumption overuses water resources, which is not good. We have a rapidly growing population, and so the need for textiles and textile production has doubled. And so I'm with I'm with President Traore. Just no, we don't want, we don't want it. We don't want it. No, because this fashion is waste. It's fashion waste. It pollutes the waters in Africa, right? There's no way to really, it just pollutes, and there's no way to really dispose of all of this stuff. And why would you want to? You got your own stuff you need to take care of. And then the water becomes contaminated due to textile dyes and other chemicals. I mean, it's just it is just a mess. You got these microplastics that get washed into water sources because you've got all of these synthetic materials, poor materials like polyester that are made from plastics. And a lot of that's used in clothing today. And so it's not recyclable. It doesn't break down. And so now it's going to trigger this plastic pollution. So you got problems on top of problems. This is just poor planning on the West part. So we don't want to take care of our own waste, right? We already have a problem here in the West with sometimes with how we dispose of things, and how we're seeing in certain areas where we're having areas, Flint, Michigan, Jackson, Mississippi, where we're having issues with water, with our own water. And so in waste and pollution. And so we really have to get a handle in the West really has to get a handle on what they're doing. And I just applaud President Traore. Just say no. Fashion waste contributes to carbon emissions. This is a smart man. He knows this. He knows this. And so the outcome of all of this, these different clothings, is an increased carbon footprint. You don't want to do that. 35% of primary microplastics end up in oceans, and they end up in our waterways. And it's all because of even just washing these synthetic textiles. No. He said no. He said no. He said no. And I agree because it's important to take the initiative. Take the initiative to take care of your own country. And that's what we see President Traore doing over and over and over again. He's taken the initiative to raise awareness about taking care of Burkina Faso and taking care of Africa. And if one leader says no, begins to say no, then the West will have to, right? As more and more leaders say no, then the West will have to take care of their own issues, their own problems, and begin to build more sustainable, fashionable habits. And so I applaud this. I applaud Ibrahim Traore for this. I applaud him. I applaud him. I applaud him. I applaud him. I applaud the Burkina Faso people, because sometimes, like I said, you can't even use this stuff. You can't. It's not even usable. And so why send stuff that's not usable? And Africa is beautiful. Africa is amazing. It is not a dumping ground. No, Burkina Faso is not a dumping ground. And for him to say this emphatically with his words and with his actions speaks volumes. He's an amazing leader. I applaud him. I applaud the Burkina Faso people for standing fiercely. This kind of thing really, really does undermine local businesses and the local textile industries. There's some amazing fashion designers and clothing makers throughout Africa, in Burkina Faso, creative, talented, amazing people. And so when you're bringing in, just dumping all of this old-fashioned waste and people having to sift through it, yes, it's bad for the environment. Two, it undermines local businesses, right? And it creates this dependency on aid. And Burkina Faso, President Ibrahim Traore, all of Africa, they are no one's, they're not to be dependent on any kind of aid. He's already told you, because he already paid off the national debt. You hear me? He has already paid off the debt. And they've created a bank. Y'all watch that video, okay? And so it creates, right, and it, of course, like we said, it creates contributes to these environmental issues with washing them, the microplastics, but also the dyes leaking into the waterways, and also just filling up landfills, which just creates more pests and rodents, and that then causes diseases. So he's right to protect his country at all costs. And then you got to pay for it. These folks over here donating this stuff, we're donating this stuff, and then they have to pay for the bales. And this has been one of those things where it ties America, it ties Africa to USA, because it's like, if you want to accept this aid right over here, then you're going to have to accept our waste. We don't want your aid. President Traore said, we don't want your aid, and we ain't taking your mess. Okay? We don't want your waste. Okay? We don't want your aid, and we don't want your mess. We don't want your aid, and we don't want your mess. That's what he said. And look, because all of these things, this influx of free, low-cost goods can make it difficult for farmers, tailors, and other producers to compete. Because if farmers are growing cotton, for example, then how are you going to be able to compete with ready-made things, low quality from the West, when people are just able to get this stuff for free? No, you put your businesses first, right? It undermines local businesses, right? Whether it's designers or seamstresses, what is a fashion house, whatever it may be, right? Or farmers who are producing the cotton. This is like a whole ecosystem that works together. It works together, and it can cause economic hardship. And so the best thing to do is what the Burkina Faso people have done with their leader, is to say no. Say no. Say no. No, we don't want your dead man's clothes. No, we don't want your waste. No, you figure it out. You figure it out. Because there's so much, right, in the West. Let the West figure out what to do with their own waste, right? Let them figure out how to manage their own pollution and landfills with what the mess that they've created, right? And Africa does not say we. You know what I'm saying? My homeland. They don't need the economic disruption. They don't need the dependency. They don't need the environmental impact, the quality issues, or the cultural impact, or the waste management challenges. Cultural impact. So I say this all the time to my husband. I'm like, one of the things about living in the West is, especially America, because that's where I am at this point in time, okay, until the most I see fit to help me get to Africa. But one of those things, and if you'd like to donate to my journey, I will leave the link below, okay? But one of the things is, we have lost our cultural identity here as African Americans. We've lost our culture, a lot of our cultural identity, because America forces people to dress a certain way, talk a certain way, act a certain way, all the things. Like this, the idea that I have my hair, natural hair, okay, is not the American way. You have to fight for that, okay? And so you have to make a decision. I'm going to wear my natural hair. I'm going to love myself. You have to make that decision. And so I can't wait. I cannot wait for my husband and I to get to Africa, so we can begin to really emerge in the culture, submerge ourselves in the culture, and can wear culturally beautiful clothing. Go to a seamstress and have things made. Go to a fashion house and have things made, tailored for us, or to buy things that are African, right? Cannot wait, because you lose a sense of your identity and cultural identity and who you are, because it's hard to get here, for one, and then with tariffs, y'all. And so it's just, okay. So I got to come home. So I'm just saying, you don't want to lose your cultural identity. And I applaud Captain Traore. One of the things he's also done, y'all have already, we've talked about this in previous videos, is stopped wearing the British, the French wigs and the French garb in the military for judges, lawyers, all of that. And so to have things made in Burkina Faso, right? Put Burkina Faso first. You hear me? Make Burkina Faso great. It is already amazing, but make Africa great. You hear me? Borderless Africa, one Africa. You hear me? That is what it's all about. I am so proud. Once again, I am so proud of President Traore. This is absolutely amazing. I am so proud. All right, guys. This is SYNOLVE signing off. I love you guys so much. I did take a little time off. I had some stuff I needed to take care of. Guys, I'll probably show you some of this. We are selling a lot of things because we are getting ourselves together to get to the continent or the Caribbean or somewhere, okay, where we are welcomed and where we are celebrated, not just tolerated. Look, you better go where you are celebrated, not just tolerated. Don't forget, my links are below. You can also join my Facebook group. That will be linked below as well. And y'all, join my email newsletter so we can stay connected. Okay. All right. This is SYNOLVE signing off. Okay. I love you guys so much, family. I love you guys so much. And I'm going to see y'all in another video real soon. Bye-bye, guys. I love you so much.